Got him. You get it right there. Perfect, right on the outside of that thing. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. Little Roosevelt bass. Ooh, there's another one following him. Oh, look, it's a gizzard shad. Boy, gizzard shad following him. Come on, buddy. Come on. No, come on. He ain't all that big, but he's a fun fish. Come on. Ah, I gotcha. Looky there. Yes, and it's on a drop shot, believe it or not. But this time of year, early in the spring, all kinds of techniques you can use. Put him back real quick so he can get back down there. Just throwing out in front of me, in front of these little brush piles. And went to a little bit different style of worm, which is really cool. This is called the quail tail worm. And it's got that little chartreuse tail. And remember, I've always said that early in the spring, I like to use that chartreuse tail and through the spring. Gives it kind of that bluegill look. This is the scorpion color. This bait's made by Cactus Wren Outdoors, and I'll tell you what, it's an awesome, soft little bait. They've got their own scent that they put in this worm, and so, you know, it works. And I'll tell you, we've been experimenting around with these things quite a bit the last few months, and I'll tell you what, this is an awesome color for these Arizona lakes right here. And it's called the scorpion. But boy, that little 4-inch dude right there with that little chartreuse tail gets it. Now, this time of year, as you can see, we're heading back into the backs of these coves. You know, the water temperature's warmed up to a ripe old 60, 61 degrees, and we just had the full moon run through. So, you know, I'm gonna start working my way from the points back into these coves, just like this. I'm gonna start looking around. And when I'm doing that, you can throw a variety of different kinds of baits. You can throw a Texas rig, you can throw, you know, anything. The water's dingy. We're getting a lot of runoff on the tonneau end. This year, not so much on the salt end. Up from the salt end would be where I live, up in the White Mountains. We didn't have much as far as, I think we had 10 inches of snow the whole year. But up on the other side, they had quite a bit, and it actually is flowing down that way. So it's muddied up the lake a little bit. So I'm out on the main lake working around a little bit, checking some areas out. A little early to sight fish. They're gonna move up. There's some fish probably already on beds, but like I said, the water's a little bit dingy. I'm just kind of poking around and looking. But you know, it's a lot of fun when you're kind of slowly going along, just kind of creeping along, and you throw out that drop shot or whatever you're throwing. And I know it's something that I can get bit on quick. You know, take something you've got confidence in that you can get bit on real quick when you throw it out there. That fish killed that bait. This is my favorite time of year, is in the spring. I love all these lakes in the spring. I prefer the clearer ones, but I'll tell you what, you can still have a lot of fun. This is when those fish actually start moving up. And when they start moving up like this, you know, you can start catching some fish real shallow and having a lot of fun. Got him. Yep, I knew I saw something there. I'm like, it was tough to see in the shadows, but I saw him. Look at there. Little drum shot bass. You're fun to catch. They like that worm. That's what they like. They like that worm. Come on, buddy. Oh, little guy. We call these little buck bass, but they're a lot of fun to catch. When they start moving up shallow, they'll start kind of roaming, and they're roaming along these little weeds right here. You can see them. And you know, the difference between these largemouth and smallies, you'll have these largemouth roaming in here, and then you get out where it's more rockier, like on the other side of the bank over there, where there's just pretty much all rock, and then you'll find yourself in smallmouth country. That easy, you know. So there's a lot going on this lake this time of year, on any of these lakes. And you can sure have a lot of fun when that temperature gets up there and stays solid for a little bit after all these storms have blowed through. The one thing I do like about this worm is it's really soft. I will say that. And matter of fact, I might have to put another one on. But it's really soft. And boy, when they grab that thing, they hold on to it. It's just really, really soft. And the tail is so thin that you make any barely little movement with that thing, and I'll tell you what, it really does the shimmy. So it really looks good. We'll put another one on. Got him. We got him. He was out in front of that point on that bush right there. He's not big, but he's a fun one. It's amazing. I had a feeling he'd be right there too. I had a feeling. Doink. You know what? They're really biting this worm hard too, so they're aggressive. Little guy. Boy, that's a little buck bass. Little buck bass. Wow. Look at the beautiful colors in that worm. That red flake, just a gorgeous little worm. And it kind of flattens out. It's unlike any other worm that you'll throw because most worms are round all the way back. This one starts off round, but then it starts getting that flat tail look, and then it goes into the small tail, which is a little bit different than what you're used to with other kinds of worms. But I'll tell you what, it works. It's got a really good wave action to it. Like that worm. Sometimes that water just gets so dingy it's hard to see. You know, one other thing that's really important this time of year, you know, during the summer, things like that, I get it's different for different fishermen, but for me, when you get a good pair of quality sunglasses, get the amber, because the amber, you can definitely see things better underwater with the amber than you can the gray or smoke. So it's very important, I think, to be sure that early in the spring, through the spring, when you're sight fishing, whatever you're doing, it'll help you a bunch to go to the amber. The amber will actually show the fish a lot better to me. You know, I can actually see them from the bottom. They'll have a little greenish tint to them or something with this amber. You just don't get with the smoke. So definitely get yourself a good pair of sunglasses for this. Even if the water's a little bit dingy, it doesn't matter. Not that it's helping me right now as far as, you know, I'm seeing a lot of gizzard shad. I'm seeing a lot of carp, but I can definitely still see down. I can see the bottom, probably about 3 feet down, 4 feet down. So anytime I see a fish that's kind of moving something out of the way and then coming back, I can pretty much tell it's probably a bass. Got him that time. Little quail-tail bass. He swam down there right after that bait. Oh, that was funny. I missed him the first time. Not the second. Come on, bud. Oh, yeah, little quail-tail bass. Hooked inside the mouth. Look at that. What I went to was the 5-inch. Isn't that a beautiful bait? Look at that. We'll release that fish. Get him back down there. He went right after the bait once he saw it falling. It was really cool to watch the bait fall. What I've switched up to, I'm throwing 10-pound test line, is this little rig right here. And Cactus Wren Outdoors has just put this thing out, and I'll tell you what. This particular jig head is called the Thule shaker jig head, all right? And they come like this in a little package, but you get like 3 or 4 of them in a package, 5 of them in a package. But what's really cool about this head is look how flat it is. So when this thing falls, when that fish followed that bait all the way down, it sits on the bottom just like that. And that tail just sits right up like that using the 5-inch. And the 5-inch worm has enough bulk to it to where you can see it's kind of meaty right there. You know, it really looks good in the water with this particular setup like this. And I'll tell you something else I like about it is it's got a J. Here, I'll unscrew the deal. This is exactly what it looks like. It's more of the J-rig type hook instead of the big wide gap hook. And what's really cool about that is it makes everything on the bait real sleek. It makes the bait look sleek. You know, slim and and just falls really nice. This particular bait is really fun to throw. If you like throwing darter heads, things like that, the shaky head type stuff, this is basically their version of it. And I'll tell you what, it's an awesome, awesome rig. But that's the bait right there. And I went because we started getting a little bit dingier water, so I went to more of a different colored worm here. But I'll tell you what, this thing is awesome. Here's the bait right here. What it's called is Mucky water. I pulled it out so you can see what the packages look like from Cactus Wren Outdoors. But this is a 5-inch Mucky watercolor, and I'll tell you what, it's got the perfect colors that I like. It's got that green pumpkin look to it, and it's kind of it's got the red flake and the black pepper in it. It really is a great looking bait in this dingier water. And I mean, it's funny that you'd use something like this in the dingier water, but what I like about it is it gives a darker profile in the water, so when it falls. But yeah, it's awesome. That fish, he went right after it. You know, basically what we're doing is working our way back to the backs of these cuts and coves and just trying to figure out what the fish are doing. And we've had a good day today just playing around. It feels good to finally get out, a little sunshine, the water's heating up. I mean, it's spring, it's ready. The fishing's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better. There's another one there. Man, they're starting to roam up. It's fun to watch them roam up. Got him. We got that one. Look at that, mucky water. Little quail-tail bass. Oh my goodness, come on, baby. A 10-pound test, it works perfect. This is the perfect setup, folks, right here. Oh, come on. Not a big one, but you know, what these are the buck bass moving up, the little male bass moving up to, there's another one up there, moving up in the shallows to start making beds and things. Let me grab another worm. I see 2 of them right there. 2 fish right there. I'm gonna see if I can catch the bigger one. Man, I hope we don't spook them. That's the main thing, is don't spook them. Boy, the gizzard shad are chasing them off. Now, there ain't a whole lot I can do about that. Maybe I can chase them down the bank and get that female to hit. I'm gonna have to hook this up real quick and turn the boat around. That fish was a 2-pounder, 2 or 3-pounder fish. Whew. Boy, and these things stink. So, got a lot of good oil to them, and they put a good scent on them. Those fish just eat this thing. I just screw it on. By the way, this is a 1/4 ounce head. 1/4 ounce head. And I just kind of lip it up there. And what I like to do is skin it. So I'll bring the hook all the way through the worm like so, and then bring that hook right up over the plastic, right over the tip of the hook, just like that. Man, this thing is so much fun to throw. Okay, you know, this time of year, it's almost like hunting. You don't want to be crashing things in your boat. You don't want to be, you know, you want to be real quiet. That was a nice fish. I wished I would have had my rig set up ready to, I just caught that other fish. Wait, there's one there. He's very big though. Doggone. We found an area with some fish in it. It's kind of nice. But that fish wasn't very big. Man, to watch the fish react on this bait is unbelievable. They just, when they see it, they go right after it. No questions asked. I'm like, man, what a bait. What a rig here. Let's see. I bet that fish probably went down the bank. Down there a ways. And what I'm doing when I throw it on the bottom is you can drag it. There's all different kinds of ways you can work your bait, but then sometimes it gets hung. There's a fish right there looking at us. We'll come back and get him. He'll make that mistake of looking at me and get caught. Did you see him? Got him! Got him! I told you he made the mistake of looking at me. I'm telling you. You're okay, bud. And he ate it. These fish are hungry. I'm hungry, as my partner Andrew would say. I'm hungry. Telling you, it's a great bait. It's amazing how you can go down the bank, kind of look at this. You got to assess every area you're in. I don't care if you go to the dam area here at Roosevelt. You know, the bass aren't going to move all the way across the lake to go spawn. They'll find an area right in there on top of a flat rock, or they'll figure it out, you know. So just assess the area. Go, okay, they'll hit a shallow flat rock or something, and you know, you just work your way down the bank and assess what you're fishing, and have a good pair of polarized sunglasses on you as well. That's fun. It's so fun to get out here to Roosevelt and catch some fish. It's I love it. Got him. Come on in here, Moby. That was so much fun. When you see those fish sitting right up underneath the surface of the water, and they're kind of roaming, and your boat comes around them, and it really don't spook them. They're kind of nonchalant, and you're quiet enough, a lot of times you can toss right there and grab them. He went after that bait twice. That was fun. You know, that's the thing is, you know, this time of year, these fish will start, when the water temperature starts warming up, they'll start getting towards the backs of these coves. They'll start roaming, and you'll see them, you know, in the clearer water, you'll see them start working their way towards the backs of coves or towards spawning flats or wherever, or they'll be in spawning flats and be up there shallow. So it's a lot of fun to catch those kind of fish. It really is. That was the only fish I saw in this whole little cut, but I mean, we ended up catching them. They can't stand this rig right here. I'll tell you what, this is one rig I am excited about, and I'll be taking this thing to places like Lake Havasu and things like that on them smallies, because I'll tell you, this bait right here falls straight down, and that little worm just sits straight up and down, and I'll tell you what, whew, the fish can't stand it. You just twitch it a little bit, and they're all over it, all over it. That's the one thing I've always liked about, you know, having something that'll actually look like it's standing up like that, because so many times using the darter head, we didn't get that. You know, the bait basically laid down. That's what made the Westie worm so popular, was that tail sticking up. And now they've got, you know, Cactus Wren's come out with this little jig head here that's just awesome. It's got that little flat bottom on it. It's perfect. Makes that bait stand right up. Hey folks, for my tip of the week, the one thing I really need to stress to you about fishing when you can see these fish roaming, and that's what we're doing today on a lot of these fish, is we can see them roaming. Don't ever throw your lure right on top of them. Throw your lure like 5 or 10 feet out in front of them. As they're moving forward, throw way out in front of them, and they'll run over and grab the bait. If you throw it right on top of them, a lot of times those fish will spook and they're gone. So always remember, throw way up in front of them to where you're not spooking the fish, and that'll help you catch a lot more of those roaming fish. Looks like we're ready for another day. Had a blast today on Roosevelt Lake. I'll tell you what, you've got to go to Cactus Wren Outdoors. Find them in stores. It's called the quail tail. I'm telling you, those baits work. We had a good time here on Roosevelt Lake. The big fish are going to start moving up. We found a bunch of those little ones that are really moved up. Right now is the time to get out and catch some fish. So what are you waiting on? Until next week, we'll see you on the water. I'm Johnny Johnson.